ॐ श्रीकृष्ण शरणं मम गोपिका जीवनस्मरणं गोविन्दा गोविन्द सद्गुरुनाथ महाराज की जय। शुक्लां भरधरं विष्णुं शशिवर्णं चतुर्भुजं प्रसन्नवदनं ध्यायेत् सर्वविघ्नोपशान्तये। नमो नमः सद्गुरुभ्यो नमो नमः। नमो नमः सद्गुरुभ्यो नमो नमः। सच्चिदानन्दरूपाय विश्वोत्पत्त्यादिहेतवे तापत्रय विनाशाय श्रीकृष्णाय वयं नुमः। यं प्रव्रजन्तमनुपेतमपेतकृत्यं द्वैपायनो विरह कातर आजुहाव पुत्रेति तन्मयतया तरवोऽभिनेदुः तं सर्वभूतहृदयं मुनिमानतोऽस्मि। यस्वानुभावमखिलश्रुतिसारमेकम् अध्यात्मदीपम् अतिथितीक्षतां तमोन्धं संसारिणां करुणयाः पुराणगुह्यं तं व्याससूनुम् उपयामि गुरुं मुनीनां। योगीन्द्राय नमस्तस्मै शुकाय ब्रह्मरूपिणे संसार सर्पदष्टं यो विष्णुरातममुमुचते। कालव्या कालव्यालमुखघ्रास त्रास निर्नाश हेतवे श्रीमद्भागवतं शास्त्रं कलौकीरेण भाषितम् एतस्मादपरं किञ्चित् मनःशुद्ध्यै न विद्यते। जन्मान्तरे भवेत् पुण्यं तदा भागवतं लभेत्। ज्ञानवैराग्यसम्पूर्णान् हरिभक्तिपरायणान् पूर्वाचार्यातहं वन्दे सम्प्रदायप्रवर्तकान्। भगवन्नाम साम्राज्य लक्ष्मी सर्वस्वविग्रहं श्रीमद्बोधेन्द्रयोगीन्द्र देशिकेन्द्रम् उपास्महे। कलिकालोचितं धर्मं नाम संकीर्तनात्मकं निर्णेतुम् अवतीर्णं तं प्रेमिकं सद्गुरुं भजे। हरे रामेति कृष्णेति नाम संकीर्तनं सदा लोकक्षेमाय कुर्वन्तं प्रेमिकं सद्गुरुं भजे। जन्माद्यस्य यतोऽन्वयादितरतश्चार्तेष्वभिज्ञस्वराट् तेने ब्रह्महृदाय आदिकवये मुह्यन्ति यत्सूरयः। तेजो वारिमृधां यथा विनिमयो यत्र त्रिसर्गो मृषा धाम्ना स्वेन सदा निरस्तकुहकं सत्यं परं धीमहि। धर्मः प्रोज्झितकैतवोऽत्र परमो निर्मत्सराणां सतां वेद्यं वास्तवमत्र वस्तु शिवदं तापत्रयोन्मूलनम्। श्रीमद्भागवते महामुनिकृते किं वा परैरीश्वरः सद्यो हृद्य वरुध्यतेऽत्र कृतिभिः शुश्रूषिभिस्तत्क्षणात्। निगमकल्पतरोर्गलितं फलं शुकमुखात् अमृतद्रवसंयुतं पिबत भागवतं रसमालयं मुहुरहो रसिका भुवि भावुकाः। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। श्रीमद्भागवताख्योऽयं प्रत्यक्षः कृष्ण एव हि स्वीकृतोऽसि मया नाथ मुख्यर्थं भवसागरे। मनोरथो मदीयोऽयं सफलः सर्वदा त्वया निर्विघ्नेनैव कर्तव्यो दासोऽहं तव केशव। श्रीहरे नमः। श्रीहरे नमः। श्रीहरे नमः। गोपिका जीवनस्मरणं गोविन्दा गोविन्द सद्गुरुनाथ महाराज की जय। Welcome everyone. Good afternoon. Okay, so we'll start from 3.2717. So just take 13 plus 19. Okay. Ramesh, can you do the first half for the 16, 17 stanzas? And then Shobha, you can do the other half.
Rajesh, last class I couldn't attend, so I'm sorry.
No worries.
Okay.
Priya, any chance you can do it? Okay, so you do the first 16 stanzas, and then Shobha, you can do the rest.
देवहूतिरुवाच पुरुषं प्रकृतिर्ब्रह्मन् न विमुञ्चति कर्हिचित् अन्योन्यापाश्रयत्वाच नित्यत्वादनयोः प्रभो यथा गन्धस्य भूमेश्च न भावो व्यतिरेकतः अपां रसस्य च यथा तथा बुद्धेः परस्य च अकर्तुः कर्मबन्धोऽयं पुरुषस्य यदाश्रयः गुणेषु सत्सु प्रकृतेः कैवल्यं तेष्वतः कथम् क्वचित् तत्त्वावमर्शेण निवृत्तं भयमुल्बणम् अनिवृत्तनिमित्तत्वात् पुनः प्रत्यवतिष्ठते श्रीभगवानुवाच अनिमित्तनिमित्तेन स्वधर्मेणामलात्मना तीव्रया मयि भक्त्या च श्रुतसंवृतया चिरं ज्ञानेन दृष्टतत्त्वेन वैराग्येन बलीयसा तपोयुक्तेन योगेन तीव्रेणात्मसमाधिना प्रकृतिः पुरुषस्येह दह्यमानाद्वहर्निशम् तिरो भवित्रीशनकैः आकनेर्योनिरिवारणिः
अग्नेर्योनि निवारणि
अग्नेर्योनिरिवारणिः भुक्तभोगाः परित्यक्ता दृष्टदोषा च नित्यशः नेश्वरस्याशुभं दत्ते स्वे स्वे महिं निस्थितस्य च यथा ह्यप्रतिबुद्धस्य प्रस्वापो बह्वनर्थभृत् स एव प्रतिबुद्धस्य न वै मोहाय कल्पते एवं विदिततत्त्वस्य प्रकृतिर्मयि मानसं युञ्जतो नापकुरुते आत्मा रामस्य कर्हिचित् यथैवम् अध्यात्मरतः कालेन बहुजन्मना सर्वत्र जातवैराग्यः आब्रह्मभुवनान्मुनिः मद्भक्तिः प्रतिबुद्धार्तो मत्प्रसादेन भूयसा निःश्रेयसं स्वसंस्थानं कैवल्याख्यं मदाश्रयम्
something first line some word was different mad bhakta pratibuddharto
मद्भक्तः प्रतिबुद्धार्तो मत्प्रसादेन भूयसा निःश्रेयसं स्वसंस्थानं कैवल्याख्यं मदाश्रयम् कर्ता प्राप्नोति हाञ्जसा धीरः स्वदृश्चाच्चिन्न संशयः यद्गत्वा न निवर्तेत योगी लिङ्गात् विनिर्गमे यथा न योगोपचितासु चेतो मायासु सिद्धस्य विजज्जतेङ्ग विषज्जतेङ्ग अनन्यहेतुष्वतमे गतिः स्यात् आद्यन्तिकी यत्र न मृत्युहासः इति श्रीमद्भागवते महापुराणे पारमहंस्यां संहितायां तृतीयस्कन्धे कापिलेयोपाख्याने 27ोऽध्यायः.
do another 6 stanzas, Priya, and then
okay. अथ षष्ठाविंशोऽध्यायः.
just break it. अथ अष्टाविंशोऽध्यायः. It's easier here.
Okay. श्रीभगवानुवाच योगस्य लक्षणं वक्ष्ये सबीजस्य नृपात्मजे मनो येनैव विधिना प्रसन्नं याति सत्पथम् स्वधर्माचरणं शक्त्या विधर्मा च निवर्तनम् दैवाल्लब्धेन सन्तोष आत्मविच्चरणार्चनम् ग्राम्यधर्मनिवृत्तिश्च मोक्षधर्मरतिस्तथा मितमेध्याधनं शश्वत् विविक्तक्षेमसेवनम् अहिंसा सत्यमस्तेयं यावदर्थ परिग्रहः ब्रह्मचर्यं तपश्चौचं स्वाध्यायः पुरुषार्चनं मौनं सदासनजय स्थैर्यं प्राणजयः शनैः प्रत्याहारश्चेन्द्रियाणां विषयान् मनसा हृदि स्वधिष्ण्यानां एकदेशे मनसा प्राणधारणं वैकुण्ठलीलाभित्यानं समाधानं ततात्मनः
एदैरन्यैश्च पदिभिः मनो दुष्टमसत्पदं बुद्ध्या युग्मीदशनकैः जिदप्राणो यदर्त्रिदः शुचौ देशे प्रतिष्ठाप्य विजितासनासनं तस्मिन् स्वस्ति समासीन रुजुकाय समप्यसेद् प्राणस्य शोधयेन्मार्गं पूरकुम्भ करे करेचकैः प्रतिकूलेन वा चित्तं यदा स्थिरमचञ्चलं मनोचिरात् स्यात् विरजं जिदस्वासस्य योगिनः वाव्यनिभ्यां यदा लोहं मादं त्यजति वैमलं प्राणायामैर्दहेत्तोषान् धारणाभिश्च किल्पिषान् प्रत्याहारेण संसर्गान् ध्यानेनानीश्वरान् गुणान् यदा मनस्स्वं विरजं योगेन सुसमाहितं काष्ठां भगवतोऽध्यायेत् स्वानासाग्रावलोकनः
So on the word, last word, Swanasagravalokanah.
स्वनासाग्रावलोकनः प्रसन्नवदनो अम्बोजं पद्मगर्भारुणेक्षणं नीलोत्पलदलश्यामं शङ्खचक्रगदाधरं वसत्पङ्कजकिञ्जल् कपीद कौशेयवाससं श्रीवत्सवक्षसं ब्राजत् कौस्तुभामुक्तगन्धरं
The first line, Lasat Pankaja Kinjalka, and then plus Pita Kausheyava.
நான் தப்பா மார்க் பண்ணிருக்கேன்.
Lanjal
Sorry.
Kappa, I think you just missed.
Yes. திருப்பி சொல்லணுமா?
Just say that line again, yeah.
लसत् पंगज किंजल्क पीद कौशेय वाससं श्रीवत्सवक्षसं प्राजत् कौस्तुभा मुक्तगन्धरं मद्दद्विरेपकलया परीतं वनमालया ब्रार्क्या
Parardhya.
Yes. परार्घ्यहारवलय किरीटाङ्गदनूपुरं काञ्जीगुणोल्लसच्चोरोणिं हृदयाम्बोजविष्टरं दर्शनीयतमं शान्तं मनोनयनवर्धनम् अबीच दर्शनं शश्वत् सर्वलोकनमस्कृतं सन्दं वयसि कैशोरे भृत्यानुग्रहकादरं कीर्तन्यतीर्थयशसं पुण्यश्लोकयशस्करं ध्यायेद्देवं समग्राङ्गं यावन्नच्चवते मनः सिदं व्रजन्तमासीनं शयानं वागयास आशयं प्रेक्ष्णि योहितं ध्यायेत् शुद्धभावेन चेदसा.
The first line, last word, Guhashayam. Shayanam va Guhashayam.
Oh, nanne
something he said. And then the second line also, Prekshani Yehitam Dhyayet.
Dhyayet. Sidam Rajandamasinam Shayana Baguhashayam Prekshani Yehitam Dhyayet Shuddha Bhavena Chedasa. Okay,
Yeah, correct.
Thank you. Tasmin labdapadam chiddam sarvavaya vasamstidam vilakshagatra samyujjat ange bhagavato munihi sanjindayed bhagavadascharanarvindam vajrangushadvaja saroru halanjanadyam uddunga rakta vilasannaka chakravala jyotsnabhirahatamah tamah drudayantakaram.
You can just say Hridayandakaram, the Mahat Hridayandakaram.
Jyotsnabhirahatamah drudayantakaram yachoshanishruda sarid yachoshanishruda srid bravarodakena tirtena murtnya dikrudena shivo budh Dyadurmada manas Malashaila Nisrudas Vajram. Sorry,
Dhyatur Manas Shamala Shaila Nisishtavajram.
Dhyadurmanash Shamashayla Nisrushta
Shamala.
Shamalashayla.
Yeah.
Dhyadur Manashamalayla Nisruštavajram Dhyayekiram Bhagavada Sharanarabindam.
And the word Shobha Trimbi. Shamala, one word. And then Shaila, another word. So Manash, Shamala,
Shamala Shaila
Shaila.
Nisruštavajram.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you. Janudvayam Jalajalocanaya Jananya Lakshmya Kilasya Suravandidaya Vidaduhu Urvornidaya Karapallavarochishayate Sam Lalitam Hridi Vibora Babasya Kuryate Uru Suparna Bujayora Dishopamano Vajoniti. The full of
Shobhamano, comma.
Mano Avo Jan Avo
Ojo Nidhi.
Ojo Niti Adasika Gusuma Babasau Syalampi Pidavara Vasasi Vartamana Kanji Kala Kanji Kala Parirambinidamba Bimbam.
And the third line, first word, Vyalambi Pida. Okay, and the first word you said something else different. Vyalambi Pida.
Vyalambi Bida Varavasi Vartamana Kanji Kala Parirambinidamba Bimbam.
No. All right, so we'll continue. So just to kind of set this, so like this is, I know this, what do you call, Kapilopakhyanam has been going for a really long time. It's going to go for even more time, right? At the end of it, I will try to summarize everything so you get the full picture. But right now we have to anyway go at the sequence, right, at which Kapila is taking it. So anyway, this one was more around till 27, we saw about Sankhya Yoga. We spoke about the Prakriti and all of that. In 28, he's telling, how do you execute pure devotional service? How do you practice the pure devotional service, right? So that's when he's taking it in the context of Ashtanga Yoga, right? So that's why, traditional Ashtanga Yoga doesn't necessarily mix bhakti into it, because it says that you just go through the various stages and then you should be able to, bring your, pranavayu out and then exit, and then you will get liberated. But it doesn't necessarily say bhakti is needed. But this Kapila is teaching is Bhakti Mishra Ashtanga Yoga. So Ashtanga Yoga mixed with Bhakti. So in that, the Dharana and Dhyana phase that we're going through, which is right now we're going to the Dharana phase. So Dharana phase is in the Ashtanga Yoga is the stage where you forcefully meditate on something. So it doesn't have to just come naturally, but you're forcing yourself, because you cannot get to the Dhyana stage where without getting through the dharana stage, right? So it kind of has to go in a sequence. So first he says you have to go to this dharana stage where you have to imagine something. You can't just imagine nothing and meditate from day one. So that is what he's going through. That is a sequence we are going through, where he's saying first you meditate on the full form of the Lord, which is the first few stanzas. And then he says each of the stanza, he says you imagine individual limbs of the Lord where you zoom in and meditate on it, right? So that's kind of what we are going through. Anyway, so we'll start from 25. Sindhuji, you can be student, and Vani, you can be student. 20, okay. Nabhi hradam bhuvana kosha guhodarastam, comma, yatratma yoni dhishanakila loka padmam, vyudham harin mani vrisha sthanayoramushya, comma, Dhyaye dvayam vishada hara mayukha gauram. Nabhihradham bhuvana kosha guhodarastam yatratma yoni dhishanakila loka padmam vyudham harin mani vrishastanayoramushya dhyaye dvayam vishada hara mayukha gauram.
Nabhihradam bhuvana kosha guhodarastam yatranmayo nidhishana akhila lokapatmam vyudam harinmani vrishastanayoramushya dhyaye vishadahara mayukha gauram.
नाभिह्रदं भुवनकोश
गुहोदरस्तं यत्रात्मयोनिधिषणाखिललोकपद्मं व्यूढं हरिन्मणिवृषस्तनयोरमुष्य ध्यायेद्वयं विशदहारमयूखगौरम्.
This one is straightforward. Nabhi, navel, and then sthana refers to the breast. So this is, you focus on that area. 26. Vakshodhivasam rishabhasya mahavibhutehe, comma, pumsam mano nayana nirvritim, looking at that ma, nirvritim adhadhanam, kantham cha kaustubha maner adhibhushanartam, comma, kuryan manasyakila loka namaskritasya. Talking about the chest, and then the kantham refers to the neck with the kaustubha mani in there. Vakshodhivasam rishabhasya mahavibhutehe pumsa manonayana nirvritimādadhanam kantham cha kaustubha maner adhibhushanartam kuryan manasya kila loka namaskritasya.
वक्षोदिवासं ऋषभस्य महाविभूतेः पुंसां मनोनयन निर्वृतिमादधानं खण्डं च कौस्तुभमणेरधिभूषणार्थं कुर्यान्मनस्य किल लोकनमस्कृतस्य.
वक्षोधिवासं वृषभस्य महाविभूतेः पुंसां मनोनयननिर्वृतिमादधानं कण्ठं च कौस्तुभमणेरधिभूषणार्थं कुर्यान्मनस्यखिललोकनमस्कृतस्य.
Next one is the four hands, Chaturbahum, and in that he talks about the Sudarshana Chakram and the Panchajanyam, the conch. Bahumscha Mandara Giref Parivartanena, Nirnikta Bahu Valayan, looking at that na, Valayan Adhi Loka Palan, Sanchintayet Dasha Shataram Asahya Tejaha, Shtankam cha tat kara saroruha raja hamsam. Bahumscha mandara giref parivartanena nirnikta bahuvalayan adhiloka palan sanchintaye dashashataram asahyatejaha shankam cha tat kara saroruha raja hamsam.
बाहुंश्च मन्दरगिरे परिवर्तनेन निर्निक्तबाहुवलयानधिलोकपालान् सञ्चिन्तयेद्दशशतारम असह्यतेजः शङ्खं च तत्करसरोरुहराजहंसम्.
बाहुंश्च मन्दरगिरेः परिवर्तनेन निर्निक्तबाहुवलयान् अधिलोकपालान् सञ्चिन्तयेद्दशशतारमसह्यतेजः शङ्खं च तत्करसरोरुहराजहंसम्.
The third line, Shataram Asahyatejah.
सञ्चिन्तयेद्दशशतारम् असह्यतेजः.
I'll just mention one thing because there's a poetic beauty. He says the Mandara Bahumsha Mandara Gire Parivartanena. He says that when you were churning the ocean with the Mandara mountain, at some point Narayana completely takes over and churns it. So at that time, the Mandara mountain rubbed against your ornaments, and that made it more polished. Just poetic beauty, right? Saying that your ornaments are polished by the Mandara mountain when you're doing the Kurma avatar, right? That's why that context is coming there, because he's talking about the hands, right? Kaumodakim Bhagavato Daitam Smareta, Digdham Arati Phata Shonita Kardamena Malam Madhuvrata Varuta Giropa Ghushtam, Chaityasya Tattvam Amalam Manimasya Kanthe. Kaumodakim Bhagavato Daitam Smareta Digdham Arati Bhatashonita Kardamena Malam Madhuvrata Varuta Giropa Ghushtam Chaityasya Tattvam Amalam Manimasya Kanthe.
कौमोदगीं भगवतो वेदां स्मरेद दिक्थामरादिभटशोणितकर्दमेन मालामधुव्रतवरूदगिरोपघुष्टां चैत्यस्य तत्त्वममलं मणिमस्य कण्ठे
कौमुदकी भगवतो दयितां स्मरेत दिग्दामरातिभटशोणितकर्दमेन मालां मधुव्रतवरूतगिरोपघुष्टां चैतस्य तत्त्वममलं मणिमस्य कण्ठे.
Fourth line, first word, chaityasya.
चैत्यस्य तत्त्वं.
Stanza 29. Bhrityanu diyeha grihita murtehe, sanchintayet bhagavato vadanarabindham yat vispuran makara kundala balgitena, vidhyoti tamala kapolam udara nasam. Like I said, it talks about the facial expressions, but then he says that, the facial expression itself is, very pleasant and, smiling and everything. At the same time, your face is illuminated by the, like how Bhattacharya described in 100 is the reflection of the earrings onto your cheeks. Bhrityanukampita dhiyeha grihita murtehe sanchintayet bhagavato vadanarabindham yad vispuran makara kundala valgitena vidhyoti tamala kapolam udaranasam.
प्रत्यानुकम्पितधियेह गृहीतमूर्तेः सञ्चिन्तयेद्भगवतो वदनारविन्दं यद्विस्फुरन्मकरकुण्डलवल्गितेन विद्योदितामलकपोलमुदारनासम्
भृत्यानुकम्पितधियेह गृहीतमूर्तेः सञ्चिन्तयेद्भगवतो वदनारविन्दं यद्विस्फुरन्मकरकुण्डलवल्गितेन विद्योतितामलकपोलमुदारनासम्.
Yachri niketam alibif, breaking at that ma, niketam alibif parisevyamanam, bhutya swaya kutila kuntala vrinda jushtam meena dvayashrayam, breaking at that, dvayashrayam adikshi padabja netram. So you can break at that ma there, dvayashrayam adikshi padabja netram, dhyayen mano mayamatandrita ullasadbru. Short u there. Yachriniketamalibiv parisevyamanam bhutya swaya kutila kuntala vrindajushtam meenadvayashrayam adikshi padabjanetram dhyayen manomayamatandrita ullasadbru.
यच्छ्रीनिकेतमलिभिः परिसेव्यमानं भूत्या स्वया कुटिलकुन्दलवृन्दजुष्टं मीनद्वयाश्रयमधिक्षिपदब्जनेत्रं ध्यायेन्मनोमयमतन्द्रित उल्लसद्भ्रू.
यच्छ्रीनिकेतमलिभिः परिसेव्यमानं भूत्या स्वया कुटिलकुन्तलवृन्दजुष्टं मीनद्वयाश्रयमधिक्षिपदब्जनेत्रं ध्यायेन्मनोमयमतन्द्रित उल्लसभ्रू.
31. Tasyavalokam adhikam, breaking at that ma, tasyavalokam adhikam kripayati ghora, then put a plus, tapatrayopashamanaya, one word, tapatrayopashamanaya nisrishtamakshnoho. So this line together, snigdha smitanugunitam vipula prasadam, dhyayet chiram vipula bhavanaya guhaya. So it talks about the eyes and the compassionate nature of the eyes and how it is full of grace and all that. Tasyavalokam kripayati ghoratapatrayopashamanaya nisrishtamakshnoho snigdhasmitanu vipula prasadam dhyayechiram vipula bhavanaya guhayam.
तस्यावलोकमधिकं कृपयादिघोरतापत्रयोपशमनाय निसृष्टमश्नोः स्निग्धस्मिदानुगुणितं विपुलप्रसादं ध्यायेच्चिरं विपुलभावनया गुहायाम्.
तस्यावलोकमधिकं कृपयाति तापत्रयोपशमनाय निसृष्टमक्ष्णोः स्निग्धस्मितानुगुणितं विपुलप्रसादं ध्यायेच्चिरं वितत भावनया गुहायाम्.
Sorry, say the last line again.
ध्यायेच्चिरं वितत भावनया गुहायाम्.
Vipula bhavanaya guhayam.
I have it as vitata.
Okay, I don't know what the difference between the two is. Can you just change it to Vipula?
Vipula. Yeah.
Dhyaye chiram Vipula bhavanaya guhayam.
ध्यायेच्चिरं विपुलभावनया गुहायाम्.
Hasam harer, I'm just breaking at that ra, harer, avanathakila loka tivra, put a plus, shokashru sagara vishoshanam atyudharam, breaking at that ma, vishoshanam atyudharam, sammohanaya rachitam nija mayayasya, comma, bhrumandalam muni krite makara dvajasya. Hasam hareravanatakhilalokatibhrashokashrusagarabhishoshanamatyudaram sammohanaya rachitam nijamayayasya bhrumandalam munikrite makaradvajasya.
Hasam hareravanatakhilalokatibhrashokashrusagarabhishoshanam atyudaram Sammohanaya rajidam nijamayayasya Bhrumandalam munigrade magaradhvajasya.
My book says Vishoshanam.
Oh yeah, it is Vishoshanam. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Hasam hareravanathakhilalokadivra shogasrusagara vishoshanam atyudaram.
हासं हरेरवनाताखिललोकतीव्रशोकाश्रुसागरविशोषणमत्युदारं सम्मोहनया रचितं निजमाययास्य भ्रूमण्डलं मुनिकृते मकरध्वजस्य.
Third line, first word, sammohanaya.
सम्मोहनाय रचितं. Right?
Yeah. Okay, 33. Dhyanayanam prahasitam bahuladharoštha, put a plus, bhasarunayita, one word, bhasarunayita tanu dvija kunda pankti dhyaye swa deha kuhare vasitasya, because kuhare avasitasya, but the S symbol is there, kuhare vasitasya bishnoho, put a visargan comma there. The next word, bhaktya, that ir will go away. Bhaktyardrayarpita. Bhaktyardrayarpita mana na pritak didrikshet. Dhyanayanam prakasitam bahuladharoštha bhasa runayita tanu dvijakunda pankti. Dhyahet swadeha kuhare basitasya vishnoho. Bhaktyardrayarpita mana na pritak didrikshet.
Dhyanayam prahasidam bahuladaroshthabhasarunayida thanudvijakunda bhangdi Dhyaye sudeha kuhare vasidasya vishnoho bhaktyardrayarpidamanana pradakdidrikshed.
ध्यानायनं प्रहसितं बहुलार्थरोष्टभासारुणायित तनुद्विजकुन्दपङ्क्ति ध्यायेत् स्वदेहकुहरे वसितस्य विष्णोः भक्त्यार्द्रयार्पितमनान पृथग्धिदृक्षेत्.
We'll continue few more and then I'll tell the meaning. But up to 33 is you're meditating on the various limbs, right? And then next thing starts. Evam harau bhagavati pratilabdha bhavo, comma, bhaktya dravat hridaya utpulakaf pramodhat outkantya bashpa kalaya muhurardhyamanaha is goes away, visarga comma, muhurardhyamanaha Tachapi chitta badisham shanakair viyungte. Evam harau bhagavati pratilabdha bhavo bhaktya dravat hridaya utpulakah pramodhat outkanthya bhashpakalaya muhuradyamanaha tachapi chitta badisham shanakair viyungte.
Evam haro bhagavadi pradilabdhabhavo bhaktya dravat utpulaga pramodad outkandya bashpakalaya muhurardyamanaha tachapi chitta badisham shanagair viyungte.
Evam haro bhagavati pratilabdhabhavo bhaktya dravadhridaya utpulakaf pramodat outkanthya bhashpakalaya muhuradhyamanaha tachapi chitta-badisham shanakairviyunkte.
Muktashrayam yarhi nirbishayam viraktam, nirvanam richati manas sahasa yatarchihi atmanamatra purushovyavadhanam ekam. So first you put a im at the end of that line and put a comma. And then it's Purusho Avyavadhanam, but the S symbol is there. So the whole word has to come together. Purushovyavadhanam ekam, comma. Next time the ma becomes a. Anvikshate prati nivritta guna pravahaha. Muktashrayam yarhi nirbishayam viraktam nirvanam richati manas sahasa yatharchihi atmanamatra purushovyavadhanamekam anvikshate pratinivritta guna pravahaha.
ராஜேஷ் ஒரு
Muktas.
செகண்ட், இது ஜாயினான்னு தெரியல. நிர்வாணம் ரிச்சதியா விருச்சதின்னு சொல்லணுமா? செகண்ட்.
You can say nirvanam richati in one word. That's fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. Sorry.
Muktasrayam yarhi nirvishayam viraktam nirvanam richadi manas sahasa yadarchihi atmanamatra purusho vyavadhanamegam anvikshade pradinivritta guna pravahaha.
Muktashrayam yarhi nirvishayam viraktam nirvanam richati manas sahasa yatharchihi atmanamatra purushobhyavadhanamekam anvikshate pratinivritta guna pravahaha.
Pause here. So I'll say the meaning from 34 to 45, 44 or something, just 10 stanzas, quickly recapping this, right? So this is he telling that you meditate on every form. Like we said, the Ashtanga Yoga, it goes to the various stages. The Dharana is the 6th stage, Dhyana is the 7th stage, and 8th stage is Samadhi. So all that we were doing is the Dharana, which is you are then everything, you're consciously meditating on every part because you have to get your mind to focus for long periods of time. And you can't just get your mind to say on day one is think about nothingness, think about the Nirguna Brahman and meditate. It won't, right? So you have to force your mind to do this, which is what he's saying. Now, the outcome of this, he says, by doing this over a long period of time, he says that you will start getting love for the Supreme Lord. Because think of it this way, right? Anything like, somebody is constantly looking at something, either it be a child or you, when you constantly keep seeing the same person, you start impersonating that person, that you think that you are that person, right? A lot of children do that. A lot of us also do that. If you're constantly, you start talking like that, you start behaving like that, which is what he says it is happening. You constantly keep thinking of that same Bhagavan every day, every time when you're meditating. He states you'll automatically fall in love with him. There is no doubt about it. It is just natural, our behavior, right? So he says you'll fall on it. When once you fall in love with it, then you will start, you'll get to the advanced stage of that love where he says you'll have horripilation all your body and you'll have tears when you look at the form of the Lord, and all of that will naturally happen. So he says this way your mind gets hooked to it, right? And like we discussed earlier, or you cannot force your mind to not do other things. You have to divert your mind by constantly making your mind think about this. It will naturally stop thinking about other things over a period of time, because at that time you're constantly thinking about Bhagavan, right? So you won't think about other things. So he says that is a way you have to force your mind to start doing this, right? And once you become expert in that. And then it says you become like a dhyana. Then you reach the dhyana stage. He says the dhyana stage, the reference he gives is if there is absolutely no air blowing, of course, there's always air, some oxygen always there, but if there's absolutely no air, how your lamp, the flame in the lamp is steady. It doesn't waver, it doesn't shiver, right? He says your mind will become like that, because then your mind doesn't get distracted by anything else that is there. It is always thinking about the Lord. At that point in the dhyana stage, is you just have to sit and then your mind will naturally think about him. You don't have to force your mind, right? So that is the difference between dharana and dhyana stages. Dhyana stage, you should not consciously do anything. Just subconsciously, the moment you sit, that's what you think about, and it should naturally come, and you're not getting any distraction, right? He says the once you reach this stage, and if you can sit in that stage, it says what happens is the mind, and this is, I'm talking about advanced dhyana stage, right? So he says once you reach that stage, it says the mind doesn't react to material things. And the moment the mind stops reacting to material things, it says you will not create new karma. See, the problem with this is we burn some karma, but we also create more karma every time, right? So he says the moment the mind does this, it says it doesn't create any more karma because you are not going to react to anything material in nature. That's number one. But you also have leftover karma, right? You have the prarabdha karma you have bought in. He says, do not worry about it. He says the moment it does that, once you kind of get, and that's actually a little bit going to the next stage, so I'll kind of wait there. So anyway, so he says at this point, you also come to the realization, like we keep talking about, we have to realize that the soul is different from the body and all of that. He says the moment you reach the dhyana stage, you will get that clarity of how you are not this body, you are not affected by any of the senses, you can be independent of it, right? Then you get to the final stage of samadhi stage. Now in samadhi, there are two samadhis he talks about, right? One of them is the samadhi of what we see rishis and great people going to complete samadhi, which is called as a nirvikalpa samadhi, which means that they are just sitting motionless and that's it, right? And then they are in samadhi, right? We build a structure around it, and there at some point their soul will leave the body. That is a nirvikalpa samadhi, which is where they decided to quit the body. The second is in the state of living, right? You're still living as a jiva. You have a state of samadhi, which is you've reached this dhyana stage and everything. And now in that stage, he says you're so advanced that you really don't even worry about how your body is functioning. So the example he gives is a drunkard is someone who's fully drunk. He has no idea where he's going, left or right. He's just going, his body goes left, his body goes right. He has no idea. He's not forcefully going left or forcefully going right or forcefully going straight. He says at that point, you don't worry. Bhagavan will take control of your body, and all the prarabdha karma that you have over a period of time will all get eradicated, because you are not creating any new karma. You still have karma to be burned. You are always in a state of samadhi, which means you are still living. You are still walking around in this planet. So great Paramahamsas, they're just walking around in the planet. They're still doing stuff, right? But they don't worry about anything that happens, right? So when we talk about Jada Bharata later, we'll talk about it at that point. So, so in that state, they don't create any new karma. Nothing is happening to them. Even if something happens to them, we'll see in Jada Bharata say people will beat him, people will urinate on him. Same with Rishabha Yogeshwara. They don't care at that point. Whatever happens, happens, right? So in that stage, what happens is you still have some life left that you have to burn your prarabdha karma. It'll all get burnt. You don't have to worry. So at the net, you'll become nil, right? You'll become zero in terms of new karma and existing karma. And everything will get wiped out. So he says that is the way through this you can actually attain that mukti, right? So anyway, so he just talks about all of that, and at the end, towards the very end, he again summarizes, right? He gives a couple of examples of because he's still wrapping up a little bit this prakriti and purusha and all of that. He gives a couple of examples of how differentiation, right? So he says that when you have money, right, and you have your own children, the children you feel are yours, the money also you feel are yours, but you are different from your child, and you're different from your money, right? You know they're not the same. You are you, the money is the money, your child is your child, right? But they're yours. He says similarly is how you have to think about the soul and the body to some extent is this body is currently the soul's body, but the soul is independent of the body, right? So you just think of your money that you have, right? The money is not you, it is your money, but the money may go tomorrow, but you will still exist, right? So similarly, he says, he just gives a few examples like that of soul and the body, but net he's essentially saying is you have to always remember that you are different from the soul, different from the body, and eventually the yogi will come to that realization. And once he comes that, the Maya, the illusion is completely overcome, right? And with that, he becomes self-realized, right? So he says this is the path of getting to the state of self-realization just purely through the Ashtanga Yoga mixed with Bhakti Margam. It will give you the realization. You don't have to know it automatically. You will come to the realization at the end. So with that, this 28 comes to an end. All right, so let's see 247. Okay, perfect. So Sabita, you can be a student, and Shanti, you can be a student. So 36, right? Okay. Sopyetaya charamaya manaso nivritya, comma, tasmin mahimnyavasitas. So you cannot break that word. Mahimnyavasitas sukha dukkha bahye hetutvam apyasati kartari dukkhayoryat, comma, swatman vidhatta upalabdha paratma kashtah. Sophetaya charamaya manaso nivritya tasmin mahimnyavasita sukha dukkha bahye hetutvam apyasati kartari dukkhayoryat swatman vidhatta upalabdha paratma kashtah.
शोभेतया शरमया मनसो निवृत्या तस्मिन् महिन्यवसितः सुखदुःखबाह्ये हेतुत्वम् अभ्यसि कर्तरि दुःखयोर्यत् स्वात्मन्विदत्त उपलब्ध परात्मकाष्ठः.
First third line, hetutvam apyasati.
हेतुत्वम् अभ्यसति कर्तरि दुःखयोर्यत् स्वात्मन्विदत्त उपलब्ध परात्मकाष्ठः.
सोऽप्येतया चरमया मनसो निवृत्या तस्मिन् महिम्न्य वसितः सुखदुःखबाह्ये हेतुत्वम् अप्यसति कर्तरि दुःखयोर्यत् स्वात्मन्विधत्त उपलब्ध परात्मकाष्ठः.
Deham chatam na charamas stitam uttitam va, comma, siddho vipashyati yatodhyagamat. So it's one word. Yatodhyagamat swarupam daivat upetamata daiva vashadapetam, comma, vaso yatha parikritam madira madhandah. Deham chatam na charamassthitam uttitam va siddho vipashyati yatodhyagamat swarupam daivadupetamata daiva vashadapetam vaso yata parikritam madira madandah.
देहं सदं न चरमस्तिदम् उत्थितं वा सिद्धो विभस्यति यदोद्यघमत्स्वरूपं दैवादुपेदमददैववशादपेदं वासो यदा परिकृतं मदिरामदान्धः.
देहं च तं न चरमस्थितमुत्थितं वा सिद्धो विपश्यति यतोऽध्यगमत्स्वरूपं दैवादुपेतमथ दैववशादपेतं वासो यथा परिकृतं मदिरामदान्धः.
This is again madiram mada andaha. He's blind with intoxication from liquor, right? And at that point, he doesn't even realize if he's wearing clothes or not, right? And while this looks complicated for us to contemplate, later on, when we actually talk about Rishabha Yogishwara and everybody, this is exactly the same things they will say, right? So it's not like it is just theory, right? There are a lot of Paramahamsas who have practiced it in reality, right? And anyway, so that will come later. But देहोऽपि दैव वशगः खलु कर्म यावत् स्वारम्भकं प्रति समीक्षत एव सासुः तं स प्रपञ्चम् अधिरूढ समाधि योगः स्वाप्नं पुनर्न भजते प्रतिबुद्ध वस्तुः देहोऽपि दैव वशगः खलु कर्म यावत् स्वारम्भकं प्रति समीक्षत एव सासुः तं स प्रपञ्चमधिरूढ समाधियोगः स्वाप्नं पुनर्न भजते प्रतिबुद्ध वस्तुः
देहोऽभिदैव वसः खलु कर्म यावत् स्वारम्भकं प्रति समीक्षत एव सासुः तं स प्रपञ्चम् अधिरूढसमाधियोगः स्वाप्नं पुनर्न भजते प्रतिबुद्धवस्तुः
देहोऽपि दैव वशगः खलु कर्म यावत् स्वारम्भकं प्रति समीक्षत एव सासुः तं स प्रपञ्चमधिरूढसमाधियोगः स्वाप्नं पुनर्न भजते प्रतिबुद्धवस्तुः
यथा पुत्राच्च वित्ताच्च पृतं मर्त्यः प्रतीयते apyatmatvenabhimatat. So first you'll have a double dha, so we'll fix it. First put a it there and a comma, but the first half of the word, the entire word is together. Atyatmatvenabhimatat, comma, deha, next word will start with the de, dehadef purushasthatha. Yatha putracha vittacha पृतं मर्त्यः प्रतीयते अप्यात्मत्वेनाभिमतात् देहादेः पुरुषस्तथा
यदा पुत्राच्च वित्ताच्च पृतं मर्त्य प्रतीयते
that's comma vittaच्च அப்புறம் comma இருக்கு
यदा पुत्राच्च वित्ताच्च पृतं मर्त्य प्रतीयते अभ्यात्मत्वेनाभिमदात् देहादेः पुरुषस्तथा
यथा पुत्रा च वित्ता च पृतं मर्त्यः प्रतीयते अप्यात्मत्वेनाभिमतात् देहादेः पुरुषस्तथा
यतोल्मुखात् विस्फुलिङ्गात्. So in that comma there, यतोल्मुखात् विस्फुलिङ्गात्, comma, धूमाध्वापि स्वसंभवात्. Again the same word comes apyatmat venabhimatat, comma, yatagnif pritagulmukhat. यथोल्मुखात् विस्फुलिङ्गात् धूमाध्वापि स्वसंभवात् अप्यात्मत्वेनाभिमतात् यथाग्निः पृथगुल्मुखात्.
यथोल्मुखात् विस्फुलिङ्गात् धूमाध्वापि स्वसंभवात् अभ्यात्मत्वेनाभिमदात् यदाग्निः पृथगुल्मुखात् गुल्मुखात्.
यथोल्मुखात् विस्फुलिङ्गात् धूमाध्वापि स्वसंभवात् अप्यात्मत्वेनाभिमतात् यथाग्निः पृथगुल्मुखात्.
भूतेन्द्रियान्तः करणात्, प्रधानाज् जीव संज्ञितात् आत्मा तथा पृथक् द्रष्टा, भगवान् ब्रह्म संहितः. भूतेन्द्रियान्तः करणात् प्रधानाज् जीव संज्ञितात् आत्मा तथा पृथक् द्रष्टा भगवान् ब्रह्म संज्ञितः.
भूतेन्द्रियान्तः करणात् प्रधानात् जीव
प्रधान जीव संज्ञितात्
संनिधात् आत्मा तदा वृदद्रष्टा भगवान् ब्रह्मत् संजित् संगित. Sorry, can you repeat that
And
again?
the Atma Tata Pratak Drashta, comma, Bhagavan Brahma Sanyitah,
Sanyatah.
Nya Sanyitah.
Can I repeat it again?
Yeah, good.
भूतेन्द्रियान्तःकरणात् प्रधान्यात् जीवसंहितात् आत्मा तदा पृथक् द्रष्टा भगवान् ब्रह्म संयतः.
भूतेन्द्रियान्तःकरणात् प्रधानात् जीवसंगितात् आत्मा तथा पृथक् द्रष्टा भगवान् ब्रह्म संहितः.
Sarva Bhuteshu Chatmanam, comma, Sarva Bhutani Chatmani, Ikshetananya Bhavena, comma, Bhuteshviva Tadatmatam. In all of these, he's just kind of continuing to emphasize, like the separation between the realization of how you are different from your body and you're still kind of the Paramatma. That's kind of the same thing in just various ways. Sarvabhuteshu Chatmanam, Sarvabhutani Chatmani, Ikshetananya Bhavena, Bhuteshviva Tadatmatam.
सर्वभूतेषु चात्मानं सर्वभूतानि सात्मनि ईक्षेदानन्यभावेन भूतेष्विव तदात्मनाम्.
सर्वभूतेषु चात्मानं सर्वभूतानि चात्मनि ईक्षेतानन्यभावेन भूतेष्विव तदात्मताम्.
Swayonishu Yata Jyotihi, Visarga, comma, the ray that we're going to remove it, put a Visarga and comma. Next word becomes A. Ekam Nana Pratiyate, Yoninam Guna Vaishamyat, comma, Tathatma Prakrutau Stitaha. This is just like how, depending on the wood, the fire, the way it burns is different. Sometimes, more smoke might come or it might burn slightly different depending on the wood, but the fire always is the same. It just looks different depending on the wood. He's emphasizing that again, saying everybody's soul is the same drop of water which has come from the same ocean. That example we have said, there's absolutely no difference. But depending on the container it takes, the overall thing looks different between an animal and a human and a plant and all of that. The soul always is the same thing. There's absolutely no difference. Swayonishu yata jyotihi ekam nana pratiyate yoninam guna vaishamyat tathatma prakrutau stitah.
स्वयोनिषु यदा ज्योतिः एकं नाना प्रदीयते योनीनां गुणवैषम्यात् तदात्मा प्रकृतौ स्थितः.
वयोनिषु यथा ज्योतिः एकं नाना प्रतीयते योनीनां गुणवैषम्यात् तथात्मा प्रकृतौ स्थितः.
Tasmadimam swam prakritim, comma, daivim sadasad atmikam, if you want to break at that, sadasad atmikam, durvibhavyam parabhavya, comma, swarupenavatisthate. Tasmadimam swam prakritim daivim sadasadatmikam durvibhavyam parabhavya swarupenavatisthate.
तस्मादिमां स्वां प्रकृतिं दैवीं सदसदात्मिकां दुर्विभाव्यां पराभाव्य स्वरूपेणावतिष्ठते. तिष्ठते.
मादिमां स्वां प्रकृतिं दैवीं सदसदात्मिकां दुर्विभाव्यां पराभाव्य स्वरूपेणावतिष्ठते.
इति श्रीमद्भागवते महापुराणे पारमहंस्यां संहितायां तृतीयस्कन्धे कापिलेये साधनानुष्ठानं नाम 28ोऽध्यायः.
Rajesh ji, this does have Kabileyo Bhakyane or just Kabileya?
Mine only has Kapileye.
So A, not yo.
Yeah, no yo. Kapileye.
Kapileye.
If the upakyane comes, then it becomes the U will make it a O. If
Yeah,
the
I
upakyanam
have
comes,
Kabileyo Bhakyane
yeah,
Sadhananushtanam.
then it remains as O because kapila upakyanam, right? So it becomes kapileyo upakyanam. Then you will have the
Okay.
O. Mine does not have the upakyanam, so I'm just saying it that in that case it's no yo.
Okay. Thank you, Nilesh.
इति श्रीमद्भागवते महापुराणे पारमहंस्यां संहितायां तृतीयस्कन्धे कापिलेये साधनानुष्ठानां नामाष्टाविंशोऽध्यायः
इति श्रीमद्भागवते महापुराणे पारमहंस्यां संहितायां तृतीयस्कन्धे कापिलेये साधनानुष्ठानं नामाष्टविंशोऽध्यायः
29 अत एकोनत्रिंशोऽध्यायः देवहूतिरुवाच लक्षणं महदादीनां प्रकृतेः पुरुषस्य च स्वरूपं लक्ष्यते मीशां येन तत् पारमार्थिकम् देवहूतिरुवाच लक्षणं महदादीनां प्रकृतेः पुरुषस्य च स्वरूपं लक्ष्यते मीशां येन तत् पारमार्थिकम्
देवहूतिरुवाच लक्षणं महदादीनां प्रकृतेः पुरुषस्य च स्वरूपं लक्ष्यते मीशां येन तत् पारमार्थिकम्
देवहूतिरुवाच लक्षणं महदादीनां प्रकृतेः पुरुषस्य च स्वरूपं लक्ष्यते मीशां येन तत् पारमार्थिकम्
यथा सांख्येषु कथितं यन्मूलं तत् प्रचक्षते भक्ति योगस्य मे मार्गं ब्रूहि विस्तरशः प्रभो यथा सांख्येषु कथितं यन्मूलं तत् प्रचक्षते भक्ति योगस्य मे मार्गं ब्रूहि विस्तरशः प्रभो
यथा सांख्येषु कथितं यन्मूलं तत् प्रचक्षते भक्तियोगस्य मे मार्गं ब्रूहि विस्तरशः प्रभो
यथा सांख्येषु कथितं यन्मूलं तत् प्रचक्षते भक्तियोगस्य मे मार्गं ब्रूहि विस्तरशः प्रभो
विरागो येन पुरुषो भगवन् सर्वतो भवेत् आचक्ष्व जीवलोकस्य विविधा मम संसृतिः विरागो येन पुरुषो भगवन् सर्वतो भवेत् आचक्ष्व जीवलोकस्य विविधा मम संसृतिः
विरागो येन पुरुषो भगवन् सर्वतो भवेत् आचक्ष्व जीवलोकस्य विविधा मम संसृतिः
विरागो येन पुरुषो भगवन् सर्वतो भवेत् आचक्ष्व जीवलोकस्य विविधा मम संसृतिः
कालस्येश्वर रूपस्य कालस्य ईश्वर कालस्येश्वर रूपस्य परेषां च परस्यते स्वरूपं बत कुर्वन्ति यद्धेतोः कुशलं जनाः कालस्येश्वर रूपस्य परेषां च परस्यते स्वरूपं बत कुर्वन्ति यद्धेतोः कुशलं जनाः
कालस्येश्वररूपस्य परेषां च परस्यते स्वरूपं पद कुर्वन्ति यद्देदो कुशलं जनाः
कालस्येश्वररूपस्य परेषां च परस्यते स्वरूपं भत कुर्वन्ति यद्धेतोः कुशलं जनाः
लोकस्य मिथ्याभिमतेर I'm just breaking at that ra there मिथ्याभिमतेर achakshushaha. The ish goes away, visarga comma, achakshushaha, comma, shiram prasuptasya tamasya nashraye, shrantasya karmaswanu viddhaya, one word, karmaswanu viddhaya dhiya, comma, tvamavirasi kila yoga bhaskaraha. Lokasya mityabhimatera chakshushaha chiram prasuptasya tamasya nashrahe shrantasya karma swanubiddhaya diya tomhavirasi kila yoga bhaskaraha.
लोकस्य मिथ्यापि मद्देर् असक्षुषः
Achakshushaha.
असक्षुषः शिरं प्रसुप्तस्य तमस्य नाश्रये श्रान्तस्य कर्मस्वनुविद्यया धिया त्वमाविरासु किल योगभास्करः.
The diya kapram comma. Shrantasya karma swanubiddhaya dhiya.
Okay. Can I repeat it again?
Yeah, good.
लोकस्य मिथ्यापि मध्ये असक्षुषः शिरं प्रसुप्तस्य तमस्य नाश्रये श्रान्तस्य कर्मस्वनुविद्यया धिया त्वमाविरासु किल योगभास्करः.
लोकस्य मिथ्याभिमतेर् अचक्षुषः चिरं प्रसुप्तस्य तमस्य नाश्रये श्रान्तस्य कर्मस्वनुविद्धया धिया त्वामाविरासिः किल योगभास्करः.
Tvamavirasi.
त्वमाविरासिः किल योगभास्करः.
We'll switch last. Muchechi can be student and Aarti can be student. So we'll go till about 3:24 and then I will 5-6 minutes and say the meaning of this. Maitreyo vacha iti matur vachash shlakshnam, comma, pratinandya mahamunihi abhabhashe kuru sreshtha, comma, pritastam karunarditah. Maitreyo vacha iti matur vachash lakshnam pratinandya mahamunihi abhabhashe kuru sreshtha pritastam karunarditah.
Maitreya vacha iti maturvachakslakšnam pratinandya mahamunihi abhabhashe kuru sreshta pridastam karunartidah.
मैत्रेय उवाच इति मातुर्वचश्लक्ष्णं प्रतिनन्द्य महामुनिः आबभाषे कुरु श्रेष्ठ प्रीतस्तां करुणार्दितः.
Shri Bhagavanuvacha Bhakti Yogo Bahuvidho, comma, Margair Bhamini Bhavyate Swabhava Guna Margena, comma, Pumsam Bhavo Vibhityate. Shri Bhagavanuvacha Bhakti Yogo Bahuvidho Margair Bhamini Bhavyate Swabhava Guna Margena Pumsam Bhavo Vibhityate.
Shri Bhagavanuvacha Bhakti Yogo Bahuvidho Margair Bhamini Bhavyate Swabhava Guna Margena Pumsam Bhavo Vibhityate.
श्री भगवानुवाच भक्ति योगो बहुविधो मार्गैर्भामिनि भाव्यते स्वभाव गुणमार्गेण पुंसां भावो विभिद्यते.
Abhisandhaya yo himsam, comma, dambham matsaryamevav samrambhi bhinna drig bhavam, comma, mai kuryatsa tamasah. Abhisandhaya yo himsam dambham matsaryamevav samrambhi bhinna drig bhavam mai kuryatsa tamasah.
Abhisamdhaya yo himsam dambham matsaryameva va samrambhi bhinnadrigbhavam mayi kuryat satamasah.
अभिसन्धाय यो हिंसां तं दम्भं मात्सर्यमेव वा संरम्भी भिन्न दृग्भावं मयि कुर्यात् स तामसः।
विषयान् अभिसन्धाय यश ऐश्वर्यमेव वा अर्चादावर्चयेद्यो मां. You cannot break that word. अर्चादावर्चयेद्यो मां, पृथक् भावस्य राजसः. विषयानभिसन्धाय यश ऐश्वर्यमेव वा अर्चादावर्चयेद्यो मां पृथक् भावस्य राजसः.
विषयानभिसन्धाय यश ऐश्वर्यमेव वा अर्चादावर्चयेद्यो मां पृथग्भावस्य राजसः।
विषयान् अभिसन्धाय यश ऐश्वर्यमेव वा अर्चादावर्चयेद्यो मां पृथग्भावस्य राजसः।
कर्म निर्हारम् उद्दिश्य परस्मिन् वा तदर्पणं यजेत् यष्टव्यमिति. It's easy to break that into it and ya. यजेत् यष्टव्यमिति वा पृथक् भावस्य सात्विकः. कर्म निर्हारमुद्दिश्य परस्मिन् वा तदर्पणं यजेत् यष्टव्यमिति वा पृथक् भावस्य सात्विकः.
कर्म निर्हारमुद्दिश्य परस्मिन् वा तदर्पणं यजेद्यष्टव्यमिति वा पृथग्भावस्य सात्विकः।
कर्म निर्हारमुद्दिश्य परस्मिन् वा तदर्पणं यजेद्यष्टव्यमिति वा पृथग्भावस्य सात्विकः.
मद्गुण श्रुति मात्रेण मयि सर्वगुहाशये मनो गतिर अविच्छिन्ना. Just breaking etc. गतिर अविच्छिन्ना यथा गंगाम्बसोऽम्बुदौ. गंगा अम्बसो अम्बुदौ. It's one word. गंगाम्बसोऽम्बुदौ. मद्गुणश्रुति मात्रेण मयि सर्वगुहाशये मनो गतिर अविच्छिन्ना यथा गंगाम्बसोऽम्बुदौ.
मद्गुणश्रुतिमात्रेण मयि सर्वगुहाशये मनोगतिरविच्छिन्ना यथा गङ्गाम्बसोऽम्बुधौ.
मद्गुणश्रुतिमात्रेण मयि सर्वगुहाशये मनोगतिरविच्छिन्ना यथा गङ्गाम्बसोऽम्बुधौ.
लक्षणं भक्ति योगस्य निर्गुणस्य ह्युदाहृतम् अहैतुक्य व्यवहिता. One word. अहैतुक्य व्यवहिता या भक्तिः पुरुषोत्तमे. लक्षणं भक्ति योगस्य निर्गुणस्य ह्युदाहृतम् अहैतुक्य व्यवहिता या भक्तिः पुरुषोत्तमे.
लक्षणं भक्तियोगस्य निर्गुणस्य ह्युदाहृतम् अहैतुक्यव्यवहिता या भक्तिः पुरुषोत्तमे.
लक्षणं भक्तियोगस्य निर्गुणस्य ह्युदाहृतम् अहैतुक्यव्यवहिता या भक्तिः पुरुषोत्तमे.
सालोक्य सार्ष्टि सामीप्य सारूप्यैकत्वम् अप्युत दीयमानं न गृह्णन्ति विना मत्सेवनं जनाः. सालोक्य सार्ष्टि सामीप्य सारूप्यैकत्वम् अप्युत दीयमानं न गृह्णन्ति विना मत्सेवनं जनाः.
सालोक्य साष्टि सामीप्य सारूप्यैकत्वमप्युत दीयमानं न गृह्णन्ति विना मत्सेवनं जनाः.
सालोक्य साष्टि सामीप्य सारूप्यैकत्वमप्युत दीयमानं न गृह्णन्ति विना मत्सेवनं जनाः.
Sa eva bhakti yogakhyah. Add a visarga there and comma because we're pausing there. Yogakhyah. Atyantika udahritah. Enati vrajya trigunam, comma, mad bhavayopapadyate. One word. Mad bhavayopapadyate. Saheva bhakti yogakyah atyantika udahritah enati vrajya trigunam mad bhavayopapadyate.
स एव भक्तियोगाख्यः आत्यन्तिक उदाहृतः येनादिव्रज्य त्रिगुणं मद्भावायोपपद्यते
स एव भक्तियोगाख्यः आद्यन्तिक उदाहृतः येनातिव्रज्य त्रिगुणं मद्भावायोपपद्यते
Nishevitena nimittena. One word. Nishevitena nimittena, comma, swadharmena mahiyasa kriya yogena shastena, comma, nati himsrena nityashah. Nishevitena nimittena swadharmena mahiyasa kriya yogena shastena nati himsrena nityashah.
निषेविताना निमित्तेन स्वधर्मेण महीयसा क्रियायोगेन शस्तेन नातिह्रंसेण नित्यशः
निषेवितेनानिमित्तेन स्वधर्मेण महीयसा क्रियायोगेन शस्तेन नातिहिंस्रेण नित्यशः
Madhishnya darshana sparsha, put a plus, puja stutyabhivandanaihi. Stuti abhivandanaihi, but it's joined together. Stutyabhivandanaihi. So the line is continuous. Bhuteshu madbhavanaya, comma, satvena sangamena cha. Madhishnya darshana sparsha puja stutyabhivandanaihi. Bhuteshu madbhavanaya satvena sangamena cha.
मद्दिक्ष्ण्यदर्शनस्पर्शपूजास्तुत्यभिवन्दनैः भूतेषु मद्भावनया सत्त्वेन सङ्गमेन च
मद्दिष्ण्यदर्शनस्पर्शपूजास्तुत्यभिवन्दनैः भूतेषु मद्भावनया सत्त्वेनासङ्गमेन च
Mahatam bahumanena, deenanam anukampaya maitriya chaivatma tulyeshu, yamena niyamena cha. Mahatam bahumanena deenanam anukampaya maitriya chaivatma tulyeshu yamena niyamena cha.
महतां बहुमानेन दीनानामनुकम्पया मैत्र्या चैवात्मतुल्येषु यमेन नियमेन च
महतां बहुमानेन दीनानामनुकम्पया मैत्र्या चैवात्मतुल्येषु यमेन नियमेन च
Adhyatmikanushravanat. So first the double na, if you have it, one of the na you put a it, and then the first entire half will kind of come together. Adhyatmikanushravanat, comma, it. Next word will start with the na. Nama sankirtanachame arjavenarya sanghena. Arjavenarya sanghena. Again, cannot break it, comma. Nirahang kriyaya tata. Adhyatmikanushravanat nama sankirtanachame arjavenarya sanghena nirahang kriyaya tata.
आध्यात्मिकानुश्रवणात् नाम सङ्कीर्तनाच्च मे आर्जवेनार्यसङ्गेन निरहं क्रियया तथा
आध्यात्मिकानुश्रवणात् नाम सङ्कीर्तनाच्च मे आर्जवेनार्यसङ्गेन निरहङ्क्रियया तथा
मत् धर्मणो गुणैरेतैः परिसंशुद्ध आशयः पुरुषस्याञ्जसाभ्येति. One long word. Purushasya anjasa abhyeti. 3 words there. But purushasyanjasabhyeti, shruta matra gunam himam. Madharmano gunairetaihi parisamshuddha ashayah purushasyanjasabhyeti shruta matra gunam himam.
मद्धर्मणो गुणैरेतैः परिसंशुद्ध आशयः पुरुषस्याञ्जसाभ्येति श्रुतमात्रगुणं हिमाम्
मद्धर्मणो गुणैरेतैः परिसंशुद्ध आशयः पुरुषस्याञ्जसाभ्येति श्रुतमात्रगुणं हिमाम्
यथा वाथ रथो ग्राणम im, next word starts with a आवृन्थे गंध आशयात एवं योगरतं चेत, आत्मानम अविकारियत. Just breaking at that ma. आत्मानम अविकारी. यथा वात रथो घ्राणम आवृन्ते गंध आशयात एवं योगरतं चेत आत्मानम अविकारियते.
यथा वादरथोघ्राणम् आवृङ्क्ते गन्ध आशयाद एवं योगरतं चेद आत्मानमविकारियत्
यथा वातरथो घ्राणम् आवृन्ते गन्ध आशयात् एवं योगरतं चेत आत्मानम् अविकारियत्.
We'll stop here and then I'll just quickly say the meaning of this. This chapter should relatively be easy to understand because it's a lot around bhakti yoga. So that is it should be easily comprehensible, right? So here it again starts in the beginning. Devahuti is saying that you have explained very scientifically, right, the details of Prakriti and Purusha and all of that exactly how, like, the technical explanation, right, of how each of this is, how it is all bound, how with your mind you can actually control all that and not get attached. You scientifically explained all of that. Then you explained, like we saw, about the Bhakti Mishra Ashtanga Yoga, how you can do the path of execute the devotional service mixed with the Ashtanga Yoga, right? That also you explained. But she says very clearly that all of this gives you a good understanding. But at the end of the day, the goal is what? The end of the day, the goal is devotion, right? These all can get you to devotion, but this alone doesn't get you to devotion. So she says, please explain. And she says, the stanza 3, she says, Bhagavan sarvato bhavet, not just for me, but explain for everybody how this constant cycle that we are stuck in, how we can get liberated, but through the path of just explaining through the path of bhakti yoga, right? Through devotional service alone, how can I actually get there, right? So that is what she's primarily asking the question. And then she says, also explain about how the time is influencing all that, but that's all okay. That's a primary thing she's asking is through bhakti. So, and once in a while, Maitreya is introduced to remind us that this is part of that conversation that is going on of Parikshit, Sukabhramam telling Parikshit about the conversation between Maitreya and Vidura, within which he's telling this story. So that's why Maitreya is saying, because Devahuti asked it, Kapila is going to tell the explanation, right? Once in a while, that's the stanza that is coming there. Anyway, so Shri Bhagavanu Vacha, so Kapila is answering this. He first talks about, the various types of bhakti. So everybody, you ask somebody, do you have bhakti? Yeah, we all have bhakti. We all pray, we all worship, we all do various activities towards bhakti. But she says there are different types of bhakti, based on our own gunas. And our own gunas, sattva guna, rajo guna, tamo guna, at various points in time, different combinations of that mixed with bhakti. He says the first bhakti which is there is bhakti mixed with tamo guna, which is we are envious of something, we are angry about something, we still that, we are jealous of somebody, we want to wish harm on somebody. With that attitude, but you're still praying to God, right? So you're still praying to God, you still have bhakti. You're praying to God, but the intention of that is different. The intention of that, you're praying, the tamo guna in you is kind of the primary driver for the bhakti that is there. So that is, few people might be there in that. The second is where 90% of the population is bhakti mixed with rajoguna, which is passion or desire. And this could be, we need promotion, I need I know somebody to get married, I need money, I need fame, I need that, I need this. All of that doing bhakti. So you're still doing bhakti, but the primary, the rajas is mixed into it, right? There's a rajo guna bhakti that is there. And the third bhakti is a sattvika bhakti, where you say that my primary purpose, oh Krishna or Lord, is that I want liberation. I want purification. I've done a lot of bad karma in all my previous lives. And what I want is I want to clean all those karmas out, right? And I want cleansing of my karmas and liberation. And you perform yajnam and all the charity, dhanam, all of that you do to eradicate karma, right? That is the sattvika bhakti. Now, here Kapila says all these three are bhakti, but even the sattvika bhakti, he says, is not great. He says the true bhakti is such that your heart is so pure that you are not forced into doing bhakti. There's no reason to do bhakti, right? He says that is the true bhakti. And then he says, Gangam baso, yata Gangam basom bhudau in stanza 11. He says, when Ganga is flowing into the ocean, it does not stop because a tree is there. It does not stop because a mountain is there. It goes uninterrupted. He says, no matter what your conditions are, whether you're happy, whether you're sad, whether you have gained something, whether you have lost something, somebody insulted you, somebody praised you, irrespective of all of that, if your heart is focused on bhakti, in the sense no external circumstances is increasing or decreasing your bhakti, he says that is true bhakti. So bhakti is always remaining constant, no matter what the external circumstances. He says these are three types. So this uninterrupted bhakti is the pure bhakti, which is on top of all of the other three bhaktis, right? He says. So not even sattvika bhakti is great, he says, because that also you have an ulterior motive, right? You have a motive that I have to burn my karmas, right? So he says that is not pure bhakti, this is bhakti, right? And then in 13, he says there are different ways, sa lokya. Lokam means a planet or whatever, right? Sa lokya means being on the same planet or same area as Bhagavan. Then the next one, Sarshti, is to having equal, this greatness or wealth and all of that similar to him. Samipya is being close to Bhagavan. Sarupya is getting the form of Bhagavan. And Ekatvam is to merge into that, right? So he says, a pure devotee doesn't even wish for any of this. So that is the true bhakti. Because even if you wish, I want to be near Bhagavan, you have a desire there. He says, the true bhakti, you should not even wish any of these five things. You should not even wish that I want to merge into him. He says, the primary purpose you're doing is that I'm doing it because I love Bhagavan. I just want to do service to him, irrespective of whatever happens, right? He says that is the true greatest of devotee, right? I will stop here because after this, he talks about how the various levels of consciousness progress in bhakti, how it changes with the consciousness level. So we'll stop at 15. Shri Hare Namaha, Shri Hare Namaha, Shri Hare Namaha. Gopika Jeevana Smaranam Govinda Govinda. Sadgurunath Maharaj ki jai. Kahena vacha manasendriye dva buddhyatmana va prakrite swabhavat karomi yatyat sakalam parasmai narayanayeti samarpayami.
Just a quick question. So
Yeah.
what we learned in 28, like meditating on Bhagavan's different parts, is that supposed to be chanted, or is it for understanding when we chant something? Use this as a
So ideally, you are
guideline.
going through the Ashtanga yoga process. You are in the dharana stage, right, where you are, you have control over your body, right? So the asana, your body, you're able to sit. Pranayama, you're able to control your breath, and then you go into the dharana stage. In the dharana stage, you're supposed to sit and meditate for hours together. Now, that meditating, right, you have to think about something in the dharana before you get to the dhyana. So in that dharana, those stanzas are describing the form of Bhagavan. right? So you could very simply, and of course, we may not understand every word of Sanskrit there to understand what that is, right? But it is very simple. I always say, you have a Guru Arpan picture in front of you, right? You take each portion, right? Meditate on it for 60 seconds or 90 seconds, whatever, on each part, right? You zoom in, observe each part, and you have a very beautiful big picture anyway. So, you can zoom in on each part and then meditate on. That's all he's saying. But you have to do it for long periods of time. Initially, you look and meditate, then you don't look and you imagine that part, right? But when you start imagining, that's when your mind is going to wander, right? So it'll take time. So initially, you look and meditate, and then you meditate without looking on each of the parts.
Thank you, Rajesh ji.
Very beautiful. Thank you,
Okay.
Rajesh ji. Have a
Thank
great
you,
one.
everyone. Anyway, no
Happy
class
Navratri.
next week. So see you after 2 weeks. Okay.
Okay,
Happy
happy
Navratri.
Navratri.
Thank you,
Okay.
Happy
Rajesh.
Navratri, everyone.
Bye.
Happy Navratri all.
Bye.
Bye.
Happy